Albuquerque voters shot it down. Now a lawmaker wants to create a new statewide ban. Also, can a new DNA test reveal your child's hidden athletic potential? And imagine looking up over your morning cup of coffee and seeing a gun in your face. It's a morning jolt you would never want. A thief walks into a coffee shop, puts a gun to your head, and steals from you.
It happened to people in one of the most popular parts of Albuquerque. And the guy who did it is still out there. News 13's Lizzie Mitri gives you a look at the thief from surveillance video. She's live in Nob Hill. Lizzie?
Jessica Dean, Albuquerque police are still looking for the masked man who walked into Limonada through here with a gun in hand. Nob Hill is a hot spot to shop, walk, or ride, and neighbors say safety isn't usually a concern. Teresa Drenton bikes here every day.
I've almost been hit by car doors, but that's about as much danger as I've ever felt, especially Nob Hill.
But a month ago, this Nob Hill cafe, Limonada, closed for the day after customers got a scary wake-up call with their morning coffee.
All I can tell you is he's wearing the mask.
Albuquerque police interviewed people who witnessed this, caught on surveillance video at about 8 in the morning. A man opened the door and looked in, scoping out the scene for about 30 seconds before stepping back out. This time, he put on a mask before walking back in. He demanded money from the cashier, leaning over the counter with a black revolver. Then he went for 3 customers, pointing his gun at them.
All of a sudden he said, folks, get this over this quickly, or something like that.
Police say he took a laptop, a wallet, and more cash before he was seen getting away going south on Wellesley.
He walked out that door over there.
Police dusted for fingerprints with no luck. They say the armed robber is still on the loose.
I have been to that cafe and I love it. I find it surprising, if not shocking.
It could happen anywhere. It really could.
I spoke with a woman who was here that morning. She didn't want to go on camera, but says this was really traumatic and she's hoping someone will come forward with some information to help find this guy. Back to you.
All right, thank you, Lizzie. Police say they don't know of any other armed robberies in the area since then. Witnesses described the suspect as a man about 5'6" or 5'7", wearing a dark baseball cap, black jacket, and jeans. To look again to see if you know who he is, you can watch the full video at krqe.com. A fight with a deli shop owner ends with a customer covered in coffee. Kyton Blair, a UNM student, says the owner of Times Square Deli at Central and Yale attacked him when he told him he didn't like the sandwich he was eating. Owner Manny Neshawat says he made him a new sandwich, then made him leave, and that's when things got heated.
As I'm walking out, I drop the food on the floor and I say, hey, I don't want your nasty food anyway. And he comes around and throws hot coffee on me.
I have a coffee, but cold coffee from the morning. I just throw it on him because he messed up my floor and in front of the people, and he was cursing on me.
Police responded to the scene and both men want the other charged. That hasn't happened yet.
It was one of the most controversial issues in Albuquerque in a while. Should the city ban late-term abortions? Albuquerque voters said no. But now a state lawmaker is pushing the idea. As News 13's Tina Jensen reports, it is already getting support from both parties.
It doesn't seem like that long ago that Albuquerque became the center of the national abortion debate. Now New Mexico itself will be front and center, with lawmakers announcing a new bill to ban late-term abortions in a state with one of the only known late-term abortion clinics in the nation.
It's not over-pushing and it's not overreaching. There are exceptions in the bill.
The bill would ban abortions after 5 months, once the fetus is capable of living outside the womb. But unlike the Albuquerque measure, it provides exceptions for rape, abuse, and incest, and when the mother's life is in danger. Today, Republicans announced the measure already had the support of 6 Democrats.
42 other states have laws on the books like this already, and I think that's really what garnered the bipartisan support.
Not all lawmakers agree.
These are very difficult, complicated decisions in regards to abortion that government and politics have no role.
Not all faith-based groups agree either.
We believe that these are deeply complex and personal decisions that should be made by a woman.
With the bill set to be introduced on Monday, supporters say it has a much better chance than the Albuquerque measure and they say it's long overdue.
We know that the majority of New Mexicans do not want to have elective late-term abortions taking place up to the day of birth in our state.
Tina Jensen, KRQE News 13.
This bill has bipartisan support in the House, but it's unclear if Democrats in the Senate support it. Governor Susana Martinez says she is pro-life and does not support late-term abortions. Another bill announced today would require teens give their parents 2 days notice before they get an abortion. If a doctor performed an abortion on a minor and a parent did not know, the physician could be fined and have their license suspended for a year. After a lot of back and forth, the city says Monday is the deadline for homeless campers at Tent City. City workers were out today cleaning up and throwing out tents as protesters looked on and took cell phone video.
That's somebody's home! That's someone's home!
It's my understanding that today they're down to 4 tents. So it's a very small group now, and we hope that they decide to move on before we start down this path.
The city says the tents were abandoned by those who accepted help and resources. On Monday, those remaining will be given a 3-day notice to vacate. If not, they may have to head to court and face a judge.
The Albuquerque police officer shot 4 times by a suspected drunk driver thanked the firefighters who helped him that night.
These guys, from the time they hit the scene to the time I got to the hospital, their number one concern was my safety, my health, and they did a phenomenal job.
Lapel video captured the shooter, who police say is Christopher Cook, firing at Officer Lou Golson on San Mateo last month. Officer Golson was hit in the leg and his vest stopped another bullet. He returned fire and called for backup. He told us he doesn't think about Cook.
Anger takes up way too much energy. You know, I prefer staying positive. That's what's got me where I'm at today. Is he a sociopath? Yeah. Am I angry with him? No. Like I said, it takes up way too much energy.
Today, the city honored the firefighters and crew from Albuquerque Ambulance who responded to the scene. Golson still has a long road to recovery ahead of him, but he plans on returning to the force. Albuquerque police tonight are searching for the driver of this red Ford Edge. They want to question them about a hit-and-run crash that left a woman critically injured at Paseo del Norte in Louisiana overnight. They're still investigating the circumstances.
A New Mexico school district has made a controversial decision on unvaccinated students. Santa Fe Public Schools sent home this letter telling parents to vaccinate their kids or keep them home.
This is not about the district taking a stand on whether or not children should be vaccinated. It's about the district taking a stand to be compliant with the law.
State law says parents must have vaccination records on hand or a waiver for medical or religious reasons. If not, kids need to stay home. The school district says some students are falling through the cracks, and with the recent measles outbreak, they are not taking any chances. We asked APS about their policy. They tell us they are constantly checking health records and that they will send kids home. Well, Albuquerque schools are in a budget crunch, and they're asking parents where they could cut. The district says it may be facing a $22 million deficit next school year because of a drop in oil prices that will mean less state revenue. APS has scheduled meetings in March for parents to offer ideas on tightening the budget without impacting education. You can also email your ideas to the district. Well, graduation rates in New Mexico have dropped, and that includes Albuquerque schools. The rate for the class of 2014 was 68.5%. That's down from 2013's 70%. In Albuquerque, the rate was 62.5%. That's less than the statewide average and lower than 2013's rate of more than 68%. Governor Susana Martinez said today, in an attempt to improve those dropout rates, she is pushing to put social workers in at-risk middle schools and dropout prevention coaches in high schools that are fed by those middle schools.
A once high school basketball star in Albuquerque is now the head coach of an NBA team. Number 52, that's James Borrego in the mid-90s, playing for Academy High School. They won 2 state championships. He later worked for the San Antonio Spurs, New Orleans Pelicans, and Charlotte Hornets. He was the top assistant for the Orlando Magic, then landed the top job when the head coach was fired yesterday.
We were really ecstatic. James just, you know, he's a great guy. I know it's bittersweet for him because he's worked his way up. He's, overcome a lot of struggles.
There's talk the Magic could hire a permanent coach in a few weeks, but Borrego is likely already making a good impression. He won his first game as coach tonight. The team had lost 10 in a row before that. If you're in the ballpark for a job tomorrow morning, the Isotopes are holding a job fair. They're looking to fill hundreds of slots for the upcoming baseball season. The job fair is from 10 to 1 at Isotopes Park. We have great golf courses and great weather here in New Mexico, so why not bring the PGA Tour here? At 10:15, what our state would need to do to get it done and why some aren't sure it could happen.
And when you think of DNA, you might think CSI in criminal cases. The new way that DNA is now being used by parents to reveal their kids' athletic potential. At 10:16, how this new test really works.
A record-setting weekend followed by a storm. We'll break it all down in your full forecast when we return.
Sign up for breaking news text alerts on KRQE.com. Now, from the Newsplex, Dean Staley, Jessica Garrete, Chief Meteorologist Mark Ronchetti, and Van Tate with sports. This is KRQE News 13 at 10, reporting you trust.
Anthem Insurance is now warning its 80 million customers about an email scam that's making the rounds. Yesterday, it announced a huge hack of its system where names, social security numbers, and email addresses may have been compromised. Now, emails are being sent out that look like they're from Blue Cross Blue Shield, asking you to click on a link for credit monitoring. Now, because of the scam, Anthem says they will only contact clients by phone or mail. It is still not clear just how many New Mexicans were affected by that breach. And today, TurboTax announced it is temporarily stopping e-filing over fraud concerns. The company says criminals are trying to use stolen identity information to file fraudulent state tax returns and then claim the refunds. If you filed a New Mexico state tax return on TurboTax, your return will be filed just as soon as their systems are back up.
A lawmaker wants to spend more than $1 million to bring a major golf tournament to New Mexico. Democratic Representative Ken Martinez introduced this bill, calling for the state to set aside $1.5 million for a PGA tournament. He's calling for other donors to match that, so the state has at least $3 million to work with.
And I think it'd be great for tourism, and I think we'd support it. We used to have a senior event here that was a great event. No longer comes to New Mexico, but I think it'd be great if we had a PGA event here.
But there's a lot of skepticism about if this would work. It's unclear what kind of PGA tournament he's trying to bring here. Purses alone for stops on a PGA tour can run anywhere from $500,000 to $10 million. Would you want to know if your child could be a football player or a long-distance runner early on in life? A home DNA test claims it can tell you which sport your child may succeed in. News 13's Gabrielle Burkhart tells you how it works and talk to parents about if they would do it.
Practice, skill, and dedication. All things that make an athlete great. So could a home DNA test help someone know their strengths?
And there are some genetic variants in each of these genes that affect athletic performance.
For $99, people can now learn the genetic makeup of their muscles with the ACTN3 test.
For sports, we have a couple genetic tests that we offer, and they basically are genes that encode certain proteins and affect athletic performance.
Dr. Grant Bitter, founder of Genomic Express in California, says the test can show which of your genes can give you an advantage. For example, RR gives someone the power or sprint advantage, XX for endurance, and RX contributes to power and endurance.
The test is simple. You just swab the inside of your mouth, mail in the sample, and have your results back within 3 to 5 days.
We asked people if they would use the DNA test on themselves or their kids to find out what they may be good at later in life.
I would. I think it would be a great thing to do. I think it would be something fun to find out and see if you're kind of in the right path or if you can change a few things and get more out of the time that you're spending.
But some people think the data can be a double-edged sword.
You don't want to rule anybody out just on a test.
Trainer at Defined Fitness, Jim Lazo, says people may use the test to push or slack off on their own or their kids' potential.
Whatever their goals are, to me, sky's the limit. I don't really care if you're predisposed to a certain strength, power.
Bitter says the test can't predict whether someone will be a star athlete, but it can provide information to set you on the right path. Gabrielle Burkhart, KRQE News 13.
The doctor behind the testing says people can use the data to help guide the way they train for sports. For more information on this story and learn about the testing, we have it all online at krqe.com. Students in New Mexico now have easy access to homework help. The state bought a subscription to BrainFuse, an online one-on-one tutoring program. It also gives study tips and career assistance. You can get it at public libraries, schools, and colleges and universities.
A New Mexico woman had a $2 million winning lotto ticket in her car for more than 2 months before discovering it was a winner. Romana Saavedra of Las Cruces claimed her winnings at the state lotto office today. She said she plays the same birthdays and anniversaries on every ticket and said she'll try her luck again tomorrow using those very same numbers. Tomorrow Powerball jackpot, that jackpot now stands at $380 million.
A skull found and thought to be from the Civil War era may actually be from a Native American man who lived in New Mexico 700 years ago. The skull was going to be auctioned off, but after protests, that auction was canceled. That's when it was donated to the Smithsonian. It was then tested, and experts believe it's that of a young Native American man who lived about 700 years ago in Arizona or New Mexico. The Park Service is deciding what it'll do with the remains and is investigating the confusion over its origins. Mark, it has been ridiculously nice outside.
Yeah, it has.
All right, thank you, Mark. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great weekend.